The Return of Mama Nkem. Years passed. Umwahia slowly returned to peace. A new food vendor took over the square. Mama Nkechi, a kind, God-fearing widow who swore she'd never cook meat unless she saw the goat alive. Children played freely again. New homes were built. The village grew. And slowly, the memory of Mama Nkem faded into shadow. But the evil forest, Ici, never forgot. One rainy night, a group of woodcutters rushed into the village shouting. They had seen a large figure moving near the forest's edge, dragging something heavy and muttering strange words. Her skin was sagged, her eyes were sunken, and her belly still bounced like a full pot of soup. She was humming the same song Mama Nkem used to sing at her food stand. One of the men whispered, shaking Izobina, now an old man with gray hair, called an emergency village meeting. We banished her. It was done. She cannot return. The charm sealed the forest. But the forest spirits had been disturbed. What no one knew was that Mama Nkem had made a pact with something older than the village itself. When she was dragged into Ici, her cries of hunger and vengeance reached the ears of the forest mother. A wicked spirit who feeds on human sorrow. The spirit offered her life in exchange for her soul. Mama Nkem accepted. She was reborn not fully human. Her eyes turned black as charcoal. Her fingernails grew long and hooked. And her shadow no longer followed her in the sun. From that day, animals stopped going near the forest. The river near the border began to smell of rot. And sometimes in the early hours of dawn, people would wake to find animal heads left on their doorstep. Goats, chickens, and even monkeys, arranged like warning signs. Then children began to fall sick. Not missing, but sick. They would cry in their sleep screaming, "She's here. She's here. She's in the window." When their parents rushed in, the windows would be wide open, with strange red markings drawn in palm oil on the walls. Pastor Ikenna, now blind from old age, called for a prayer vigil at the village square. People brought lanterns, Bibles, charms, and sacrifices. But that night, the rain returned, a heavy downpour unlike anything the villagers had seen since the day Mama Nkem was banished. Suddenly, the flames in the lanterns went out. Then a screamed at it was Yuzo, the young hunter who had discovered her underground chamber years ago. He was now a grown man, strong and proud. But when people turned to where he stood, his head was gone. In its place was a piece of cooked meat, placed neatly on a leaf. A message from Mama Nkem. Chaos returned. Fear swept through Umwahia like wildfire. The villagers begged Izobina to act. And so he summoned Dibia Njoku, the oldest and most feared native doctor in the land. The Dibia prepared a ritual, a journey into the evil forest to find Mama Nkem's spirit and trap it forever. 3 men volunteered. Okoro, the village's best hunter, Chijioke, the blacksmith's son, and Ikin, a fearless warrior. They were given charms, fire, and a special calabash to capture the spirit. They entered Ici at dawn. They were never seen again, but a week later, their voices were heard in the wind, crying out from the trees, "Don't eat the meat! Don't eat the meat!" Now no one goes near the forest. The children who recovered never speak. Mama Nkechi's food stand closed after a piece of meat in her pot started breathing. And some say if you listen closely at midnight, you'll still hear her voice drifting from the forest like smoke. Meat is meat, and Umwahia still owes me a meal.